Welcome back to video 4 of the Off the Mat series with me. My name is Amy Osborne, and I'm a graduate and now program associate at Loyola Marymount University's Masters of Arts and Yoga Studies program. Since then, I opened or took on ownership of a studio in Southwest Florida, Northport, called Northport Yoga and Wellness, and my business partners are now down there running it. And so I'm compiling this information of really what I covered in my thesis, which I self-published, called The Science and Practice of Trauma-Informed Mindfulness. My geeky face is on the back. It's real. So it is on Amazon, but that's fine. So a lot of the content is being shared with you in these videos. And that was kind of my journey to learning this information. So far we've covered the physiology of stress, window of tolerance, and neuroplasticity. I invite you to go back and watch those, as well as 3 yoga, mindfulness, meditation in one bucket techniques. We went over 3-part breath, extended exhale, and observational awareness. So I welcome you to take a look. Also, if you're into mindfulness but you're not sure where to start, this is a great text, Mindfulness for Beginners. I welcome you to take a look in plain English. We use this as part of a sitting group that I was a part of in Sarasota, Florida, and I think it's pretty well broken down. More of a handbook style book, but still really useful if you're just not sure where to start. So I do suggest that. So today we're talking about Western psychology as it relates to trauma-informed mindfulness. And the book to get on this topic is The Body Keeps the Score by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, MD. Within this text, he tells the story having interviewed 6 survivors of a plane crash. And of the 6 survivors, he found that there were 3 types of reactions, and that 2 of them felt one way, 2 of them felt another way, and 2 felt another way. So we call this the 3 levels of safety. So the first group he interviewed, perhaps the 2 people who survived this crash, they said that, they had some memory of this. As it began to happen, they looked around, and almost immediately they connected eye contact with another person. They noticed somebody on the other side of the room, they connected with somebody, whether that person's right next to them or way in another aisle, wherever they are. So the 2 people who felt that they made connection quickly reported that they had memory of most of the event. Then he interviewed 2 more. They said that, I noticed this event was happening, and it was panic, and I looked around, and it took me a while, but eventually I made eye contact with someone else on the plane. So in that case, it took a while, and they said they remembered some but not all of the event, that it was kind of spotty, and they couldn't recall all the details. Then there's our third group of our 3 levels of safety, and our third group looked around, same as the others, had this instinct to look around, and after acknowledging mentally what's happening, looking outward, and they did not find anyone that they were able to make eye contact with. There was no connection, and these people had no memory of the event, or the majority was kind of in this blackout mental state. So we can relate this to 3 states of being: rest and digest, fight or flight, and freeze and collapse. And what this tells us in psychology is that we actually need each other to self-regulate. Connection is required to feel calm, to be and function at our optimal health. So thinking of ourselves as tribal creatures, and that we need the support of one another, the love of one another, even just the eye contact, the connection of one another, to be our fullest, best selves. So that's kind of my yoga integrated thought, but we can refer to Dr. Bessel van der Kolk and understanding the 3 levels of safety, how your body reacts in a situation that's unsafe. We have rest and digest. We're able to maintain a level of coherence, of full memory through connection, immediate connection with somebody else. In our second level, It took longer. We entered fight or flight. Maybe it's spotty. We can't remember it all, but we felt connected and ultimately, okay on some level. And the third level being freeze and collapse, no memory at all, or a majority being blackout, no thought, no memory, because there was a lack of connection, which would have been a reassurance and actually stimulated the nervous system, or the vagal nerve, to stimulate parasympathetic nervous system for us to digest. So we make each other calm, and let us be that light for each other in this time when anxiety and fear is also contagious. So is peace of mind. So we practice and we acknowledge our limits, window of tolerance, and we integrate coping mechanisms or tools, techniques, tools in your toolbox to help you re-regulate yourself. So this is a great book if you're interested in all of this. Body Keeps the Score. I invite you to join me in practice. We'll be taking a brief pause. If you want to get a blanket, a bolster, I say bolster like we're in a studio. Bolsters are great, but pillows, beach towel, as I mentioned earlier, sitting on anything, a rolled up yoga mat, just make yourself comfortable is the goal. You might want to put pillows or blocks if you have them underneath the knees to support. If you're uncomfortable, adjust yourself until you're more comfortable. This practice is for you. If you're at home, likely no one else is there, or they just may not care how you're laying or positioned. Do your thing. This is to serve you, finding yourself in a comfortable place. So recognizing that connection serves us. I thought we could practice single-pointed focus, which is the oldest type of meditation. It comes out of the early Vedas, which is part of Hindu school of thought and just part of the history and tradition of yoga, the earliest tradition. So in that text, the Mandukya Upanishad specifically, they talk about the use of the word or syllable Om as a single focus of meditation. This technique is also mentioned in other places throughout the Vedas. So we're going to practice that today. It can be practiced in so many ways. One of my favorites for beginners is to use a candle, to light a candle in front of you, and you actually keep your eyes open and just stare at the flickering flame as your single point of focus. When the mind wanders, you bring it back. The mind wanders, you bring it back. Om is another choice. The seed syllable Om, 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 reciting to yourself internally or out loud at your own pace, often with breath, like a Om on the exhale, okay? And the third being, this object can really be anything as long as it's elevating. It can't be something that sometimes you're mad at, like a pet or a partner or whatever. It needs to be something kind of pure. So I invite you, if those two options don't serve, you can just use the breath as the single point of focus. Or if affirmations are part of your practice or mantra, those are other good examples. I am love, I am joy, I am enough. Picking one, or a mantra that you might know from yoga, classical yoga tradition. So thinking for a moment, picking one thing, can be Om, can be breath. I already forgot the first one. Can be the third eye. Picking your item, something higher, a light, a flickering flame, one object, single pointed focus. Each time the mind wanders, you'll bring it back to this one point. So resting the hands on the knees or in the lap, nice straight tall spine. You might draw the body, the abdominal back slightly and notice the low abdominals, low core beneath the belly button engage. This is why asana, yoga movement, helps to strengthen the core, making it more comfortable to sit, opens the hips so we can sit like this more comfortably for longer. Dropping the gaze or closing the eyes, finding yourself comfortably seated, and checking in with a nice easy breath in and out through the nose. You can move through the shoulders if there's any tension there, just noticing. They're a little bit hard to move, bringing them up toward the shoulders. Exhale down. That's a popular place to hold some tightness. Releasing them down the back. You can take a big breath in and let it go through the mouth, releasing anything that's about to distract you. We're going to do 2 more. Breathing in. Exhale, let it go. 1 more time. Coming to focus first on any sounds, distractions in the space, naming and acknowledging them. Can't always change them, not good or bad. Name and acknowledge, let it go. Coming to an awareness of the body, any sensation there is to notice. Name and acknowledge. Maybe breathing space into any area that feels tight. Imagine on an inhale that space of the body expanding with breath, inhaling and releasing. Finally, bringing awareness to the breath, moving in and out through the nose. Taking a few breaths, each a little deeper than the last, beginning to expand the lungs, front, back body, maybe the diaphragm lifts. Full lungs, and exhale nice and slow, 3 or 4 counts. We'll do 2 more, your own pace. Breathing in, 3 or 4 counts. Exhale, release, 3 or 4 counts. 1 more on your own. Breathing in, this time do a count of 4 or 5, biggest breath yet, your own pace, full lungs all the way to the crown of the head. Front, back body expanded, exhale slow as you can go, sip the air out the nose, slowly, 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 slowly. Extended exhale, twice as long, 8, 10, or even 12 counts. Let it go, empty lungs, releasing. Gonna take 2 more at your own pace, extended exhale, breathing in. Full lungs, exhale slow as you can go. Sipping the air as slow as you can go out the lungs, let it go until the lungs are empty, even longer than you want or think you can. 1 more time, breathing in. Full lungs, exhale. Last one, longest breath of the day. Slowly, slowly, slowly letting the air release like a balloon out of the lungs. Coming to an easy, natural pace of breath once it's completed. Bringing awareness to the flow of breath naturally in and out through the nose, observing the lungs expand and release. I invite you, if you have another single point of focus, such as a candle, the syllable Om, an affirmation, or even the breath itself, choosing one, coming to your tool, your single point of focus. Each time the mind wanders, allow yourself to observe and just bring it back to this single point. If and when you practice this technique on your own, make sure that it's the same single point of focus each time. Otherwise, your mind will continue to be busy and you won't see any progress. Staying in a natural flow of breath in and out through the nose will take about a moment, a minute, a full minute here. Each time the mind wanders, bringing it back to your single point of focus. Noticing if the thoughts have wandered away and bringing them back to your single point of focus. Slowly, gently bring awareness back to your body on the earth and the rise and fall of your belly with breath. Taking a big breath in and let it go. If you found that difficult, remember it's a practice. Trying is succeeding if you're practicing meditation. Thank you for joining in practice together, being open to something new in tools within our toolbox. Alleviate anxiety, work with the body's natural systems, bringing the hands together to the chest. Thank you for the opportunity to share and the honor to guide you. The light in me sees the light in you. We're all in this together. Namaste. Thank you for watching this 4th video in the Off the Mat series. I'm Amy Osborne, graduate and program associate for graduate yoga studies at Loyola Marymount University and co-owner at Northport Yoga and Wellness in Florida. This next video, our final one of the series, will be on tools for coping, tools for your toolbox, whatever you want to call it. Trauma-informed toolkit, the coolest names. So essentially, just discussing different things we can do and practicing some things that might be helpful in bringing the body back to our equilibrium state, our window of tolerance. So thank you for joining. It's such an honor and pleasure. Namaste.